much for joining us. Guys, we are going through a really cool series right now called Seasons. And every Friday, I am featuring a member of Shrinking Tribe, and we are digging in with them about the current season that they are in life. And tonight, I am so excited to introduce you guys to Dr. Brandon McMichael of the Shrinking Tribe, also my husband and my favorite tribe member, my favorite producer, my favorite co-author, my favorite baby daddy, and my favorite person on this planet. So, Dr. B, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me in this afternoon that you have off, and sitting down and sharing a little bit about the current season that you're in. First of all, hi, you're so handsome. Second of all, introduce yourself. Tell everybody what's the top 5 things they need to know about Dr. B.
Okay. So obviously I'm your husband. Okay. And with great honor comes great responsibility with that. And so, yeah, I mean, top 5 things. I mean, that's a lot to go over. I'm a professional hobbyist. So I have many different hobbies that circulate throughout the year. I love playing drums. I'm definitely a family man. I like serene activities, so things that are just peaceful and self-rejuvenating. Let's see. I guess you consider me a man's man, like I like man stuff, but I have an old soul. I have an old soul, and I enjoy older school, old timey things. So yeah.
You do. I always make fun of you a little bit about how you're kind of just a little old man, just kind of living out your days, He likes to smoke his pipe and he loves sampling different bourbons and whiskeys, and he just likes being on the river and in nature. And I just love that about him. But yeah, I used to struggle as a spouse of a hobbyist a little bit, until I realized that most of that was dealing with my own insecurities and stuff like that. Now I really embrace the things that you enjoy doing. And now that I can understand why you like doing the things you like doing, it helps me see you better and know you more. And you really do just crave that peace and serenity and nature. And I just think that's cool. So it's been fun relearning you, my love. And we're celebrating our 16th anniversary next Friday.
In 1 week. Yeah.
Yeah. 16 years, babe. We have made it through some crazy seasons in our life. We really have. I've been journaling a lot more than I usually do lately, and going through kind of some of the seasons that we've gone together we've been together 17 years now, married 16. But the seasons of our life that we've gone through, it's been pretty cool when you look at the 2 people that we were when we came together, and who we are now. It's very neat to see the transformation that's happened and us hold on to each other throughout everything that life has thrown at us and everything that we've struggled with and all of the terrible choices that we made. Like I say, I claim accountability all the time. Most of the problems in my life, I directly caused myself because of my lack of healing in one area or another. But I love that through all of it, we have been able to keep a hold of each other and grow together and really, stay connected. And I think that's awesome. So anyway, going back to seasons, that's my good segue now into the seasons of life. And I want to talk to you and interview you about the season that you've been in. Now, we have not talked about this, or I don't really know what you're going to say. I'm going to let you tell your story of the season that you've been in. We've been in them together for sure, but you're also in one of your own. So why don't you share with everybody the season of life that you're in, or the one you're coming out of, or the one you're going into, or whatever. But what season are you in right now?
So you kind of hit the nail on the head there. We've grown through a lot together. And I think that that's really important. And that's one of the secrets to longevity of a marriage, for sure, is growing together. because the whole saying that you hear people talk about is, if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's absolutely true in relationships too. And so, we've gone through our own crap together, individually with one another as a cheerleader, but at the same time, we've gone through our own stuff, like married stuff together. And I think if we hadn't grown or hadn't chosen to actually choose to grow, we would have chosen to die or give up. And I think that's important with that choice. And so that's kind of a perfect description of where I've been. I feel like, the season of life I've been in is lasted the last 5 years. It's not been just one season, but kind of a churning, if you will. It's more, I've gone through self-discovery, self-improvement, losing weight. I've gone through, just trying to be a better dad, be a better husband. There's lots of different things in there to unpack. But I'd say the most recent season that I'm in, and probably going to continue to be in throughout at least the summertime into fall, is this self-awareness, or I don't want to say self-discovery, because it sounds like I don't know myself, and I do know myself. It's more about, like, how can you apply yourself to a higher level? Like, I feel that where I am in life isn't where I'm going to end up in life. And I think we all feel that way, but I have a huge draw and a huge internal fire right now to increase my capacity, increase myself. There was a saying not too long ago, a couple of years past, that really grabbed onto me. And it was about people, like, trying to tame themselves, like trying to apply a filter to their language, or a filter to their thought processes, or trying to blend in with relationships. And somebody went completely opposite and was like, you know what? You just need to be yourself, but be louder. And for me, that was a big deal, because I want to see how far I can go with my career, with my relationships, with my hobbies. I'm just in this season where I just want to go more. I want to go higher. I want to go further. And so some of that involves losing weight. Some of that involves, being stronger here and losing some of the weight from maybe my past, with thought processes and the way that I handle reasoning, or the way I process emotions. But the other part is moving forward, choosing to grow where I am, and choosing that growth pattern. So there's all sorts of different avenues of growth, spiritually, mentally, physically, all of that. And so I think that my season is that I am just fertile soil for any kind of growth to happen. But I'm very aware on, like, if it's a bad type of growth, if it's a weed in my garden, I know that it's not going to have anywhere to grow. So I'm very choosy and very picky about what comes in, so that my garden is beautiful. So that's kind of the season that I'm in.
Yes, and that's the best thing too about our gardens, is that it's our job to make sure that it stays protected, that it has the good soil, it has the good water. It's what we plant in it is going to complement it, right? And we're going to take out all the things that don't. And put maybe a little fence, around it to keep it from the critters. Those are the nouns, in our life. But yeah, so good. So good. I love that for you. You really are just always a student, always willing to learn. And that's something I love about you, is because you have the capacity to be such a know-it-all, because you know so much. And that's not an insult to you. You know a lot about, you're a very intellectual person, for sure. But you're not a know-it-all, though. You're always a student of, like, okay, I'll allow myself to be challenged in this. Now, you might sound like a know-it-all for a minute. I'm going to call you out as your wife. However, you're always willing to learn and grow in the things, if you have any thought at all that, like, okay, there's more growth that can happen here. So I love and admire that about you, that you're never just stagnant. You're never just stagnant pond scum. It's always a fresh river with you, always.
Yeah. I
And
wasn't
it's
always
yeah,
like that though. It wasn't always that way. In fact, one of our friends that we know very well, they got a new like cable box or something like that for their TV. This probably was 6 years ago. And I'll never forget, the husband was like, yeah, all you have to do, he's trying to teach his wife how to work this new remote for their TV and everything. And she's like, oh, I just don't care. I don't want to learn it, and blah, blah, blah. And he just, right off the top of his head, he's like, oh, so you just want to coast in on what you know now. And that hit me hard. Like, he was just having fun.
David Whited. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, he was just having fun with his wife, just teasing her a little bit. But what he said was so profound with coasting in on what you know now. There's so many people that, whether it's fashion, we know people that are stuck in an age of fashion. They're coasting in on what they know now with fashion. There are people with technology. There are people with maybe their cars, maybe with, I'm just speaking from my lens viewpoint, but ideologies, whether it's being racist or bigotry. I mean, there's different things that we could all talk about there, but not coasting in on what you know now is probably one of my biggest secrets to choosing to grow, because I don't want to coast in on what I know now. And so that I don't know, I just had to insert that a little bit because it is such a profound statement for anybody that is struggling with growth. Like, you know what, I feel good. I feel kind of complacent where I'm at. Obviously, you're never going to tell yourself you're complacent, but you might feel that way. And that might just be a challenge for you.
Yeah. And complacency kills us. It slowly kills us. We are creators. We are meant to create. We are meant to pour out. And complacency and the same thing. Gosh, it kills us. So having those outlets and that, those hobbies and stuff like that for you, watching you evolve in your self-care as a man. Like, you are so funny because you're one who always had to fight for your time to party, like fight for your time for yourself. You know what I mean? And a lot of that was just my own immaturity and own insecurities of not giving you that time that you needed as a young, stupid wife. Right. But seeing you like make your needs known about your self-care, your mental health, even of like, I need some time to myself to do these things that I enjoy for me. Like, you being able to communicate that to me, like, I mean, it took, I don't know, 13 years for you to communicate that to me, to where I could hear it. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, to where I could hear it. And now you make sure that you take the time that you need for yourself, because I'm an extrovert. I feel like I'm kind of changing more into an introvert these days, but you are an introvert and you have always been an introvert, and you recharge in that downtime and in that isolation time where you get to be with yourself and nature and do the little things that you like to do with your hands, creating, like you like to create things.
Very, very much.
Yes. But like, a lot of men don't take that time for themselves because you know what I mean? Like, I feel like you guys get so caught up in that provider role or that lead of the house role, and it's hard to balance everything. Right. And I've seen that. I'm only speaking this because I've seen you go through it. I've seen you deal with it. I've seen you struggle with it. I've seen you communicate like, oh, how do I balance it all out? But you're doing a really good job. And I want to let you know that, like, you're doing a really good job balancing it out. Like, when you first started this, you said, like, I just want to be a better husband. I want to be a better father. Like, I just want you to be a better Brandon. Like, I want you to be the best for you, like, not only speaking from as your wife and someone who loves you, but just as another human. Like, it is not about you being a better dad and a father. It's about you being better for yourself, being your best, so that what pours from you into us is good, right? And that all comes from making sure that your soil is good. And it is. I love that. So good. I love that we
Well,
didn't talk about this beforehand. And this is literally just off the cuff conversation. It's so good, V. I love it.
and it's not a strange concept. I mean, if you get on an airplane, they tell you put your oxygen mask on first before anybody else's. It's common sense. It's survival 101 for a human being.
Right. But just like everyone knows how to lose weight, everyone knows. I could ask you right now, how do you lose weight? You could probably write a book series on how to lose weight, right? Everyone knows. It's applying it. It's
Right.
applying it. It's walking it out. It's no, I really do need to fill my own cup first. No, I really do need to put my life stuff on first. I really do need to pour into me first instead of springing into action and clocking in and out every day. I need to be
Yeah.
taking care of myself. Like, and yeah, so good. So good.
Well, and I think a definition of what it means. So for me, the way that I feel, if I'm not taking care of myself, self-care, if I'm not recharging, if I'm just go go go, because you're right, there is a assumption for fathers or husbands, heads of the household, to provide and do this whole thing, and sometimes that comes with a lot of pressure. And so somebody that's clocking in, clocking out every day, and then they're spent, and then they have to go home and spend even more out of an empty cup day after day after day. That's great, but at some time you have to flip the switch, or it's going to be flipped for you.
Yeah.
And that's the danger zone. And so the way that I put myself first with that isn't a selfish nature, isn't so that I could be better. It's simply, I define it as my time is being stolen. Whenever I'm working at work, my time is being stolen from me. And so I'm going to recuperate time, right? Right. I'm trading time for money. I get that. It's a job, whatever. But at the same time, I only have so much of me in a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
And if I give that's being taken away against my will. I don't want to give it. I'm having to do that to provide. For me, it's being stolen from me. And so in order for me to get that back, I have to steal from other places. And it sounds bad, but sometimes it might mean that I don't get to listen to the radio on my way home. Maybe instead I'm just in silence and just decompressing myself. Maybe it's stealing from, if my friends are going out on a Friday night or they're going golfing Saturday, I don't go, because I'm going to steal back that time that I could dedicate to that, but I'm going to keep it for myself so that I can recharge and be a better me. And so that's kind of how I define it. And it's weighted very heavily. Yeah. My time for my self-care is a high priority for me. Otherwise I cannot function. I don't know why. I don't know where that all came from, but it's just a fact. I have to do that. Otherwise, I lose myself.
Yeah. So. Yeah, definitely. And it's so important to know those things about yourself so you can meet yourself there and also heal through it, because with that, you can work on those things, you can work on your capacity to handle more and things like that. We're seeing that even with me. But no, you do a great job. You're killing it. You really are. You're consistent as heck. You really are. So I hope you're proud of yourself. But in the seasons that we go through, we can't always be in one season or another. Like, it's always going to change. Like I tell people all the time, we can't be in a weight loss season constantly. It's not good for our mental health. It's not good for our physical health. It's really not. We're not supposed to be in caloric deficits for years. Like, oh my gosh. Like I did that to myself. I had to, because I was saving my life. You know what I mean? But the seasons have to be different. We have to let up and grow. So for you, the season that you're in is part of healing, figuring out who you are right now, what you're supposed to be doing, what your top priorities are, and then putting them into action and going for it and keeping it as balanced and simple as you can. I know that's kind of a goal for our family right now, as we're in a healing season also. It's keeping things very balanced, very simple, keeping ourselves surrounded with consistency and stability and all those things. But not always a weight loss season. So with that being said, let's segue into your weight loss journey and speak to, I mean, we have a lot of women that watch this, but speak a little bit to the men too, the dudes out there who are, fathers in the home, and they're trying to balance their career and their marriages and their kids' extracurriculars and all that junk, or their own stuff they're doing, while also trying to change your physical health or improve your physical health. What is some advice you can give to those people, and how are you doing in your own life with that, and what's next for you, and like on this continued journey?
So weight loss is a hard thing. Like you mentioned before, we can know how to do it. It's more about applying the action. And so I'd say, to speak to some of the guys in the tribe, because there are some. I know that it is a lot of ladies, but there are definitely some guys in here. And so, part of it is expectations. You see so many highlight reels on social media nowadays. It used to be that you had to go to a bookstore and buy a book on health or health and fitness or losing weight. Maybe you could Google it, or Yahoo, or Ask Jeeves back in the day. It was like, how to lose weight, and there were articles and magazines and things like that. But now it's in your face every day. And maybe, one of your friends or your neighbors has recently gone through a life change or a weight loss journey of some kind. And so there's always this comparison happening in the background. And it is almost like it's like a motor on a boat. And what happens is that once it starts going, that comparison, it doesn't propel your boat, it propels another boat. And that's a boat like of failure, because you're never going to match the speed of somebody else. And so what happens is that you tend to internalize that, and you tend to process that as you not doing enough. And then you can go one of two ways. You can either start grinding more, which is unhealthy, and then you start doing stupid things, cutting more calories, or spending more time at the gym, or taking away more from the important things in your life and putting it towards weight loss. Or you can go the other way, which is to give up, which is what most people do. And so it's a really hard transition, especially when you have that comparison motor going on in the background. You may not even know what's going on, but it is. And so one of the things that you have to do is isolate yourself. Just like a horse with blinders on their eyes, you have to become that. Maybe it means unfollowing certain accounts. Sure, they might be pumping out great information. You might be actually educating yourself, but at the same time, if that comparison motor is going on in the background, it's always going to be through that lens, not the lens of growth. And so one of my big challenges is if you look at people that I follow on social media, I don't follow health gurus. I don't follow the weight loss experts, except for you in the tribe and people in the tribe. But it's because of that reason. If I start going down that road, it becomes very unhealthy to me. And so that's something that I've had to personally go through. And right now I'm just kind of in a it takes the time it takes mode. I feel like I've been that way for about a year, but mentally I've never been healthier.
Yeah. You've not struggled with your food addiction like you used to. And I've been watching you. I mean, I'm trying not to watch you, but I've been watching you. And I'm not kidding, babe. Like the way that you eat now and your choices and your portions and stuff like that, like even when I'm allowing myself a little more freedom now that I'm in maintenance mode, like you're still, choosing better things. Like you had a banana last night, that's awesome. That's really awesome. Like you are really taking on your issues with food and meeting them face to face and prioritizing that water and that self-care and all that. Like you're right. This stuff is hard. This stuff is hard. And that's why most people don't do it. because
Right.
it's hard, it takes work, and it takes a lot of flipping grace. Like it takes more grace than it takes anything else. It takes grace to be in a 6-month season with no progress at all and be like, I'm still on my journey and I'm still making progress, even if it's in my mind and in the things that I'm learning. It takes that kind of extreme grace. And it, after losing 250 pounds over the last 5 years on my journey this month or next month, I'm telling you right now, that's exactly what it's going to take. And that's the truth about it. It's going to take the time it takes. It's going to take that attitude and that mindset of allowing yourself to be in the season, not fighting that season, learning everything you can out of it, and then moving into the next one. And I feel like that's kind of where we are in life. Like, I feel like we've got this really exciting new season right in front of us that we're getting ready to kind of go into. And it's terrifying because we don't really know a lot, right? Like so many question marks on our life, but it's also so exciting and hopeful. And I will agree with you. I feel like you are the most mentally healthy that you've ever been since I've known you. And I mean, I ain't complaining.
We've got to redefine progress.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if you see a helicopter take off and it's moving and it's going forward, and then all of a sudden it hovers, does that mean it stops flying? No, it's just standing still, hovering, but it's still flying. It's still using energy. It's still doing the things it needs to do to remain elevated in the air. And so I feel that that's kind of where sometimes we need to be. We need to hover a little bit and take time to reevaluate, do whatever you want to do. I mean, there's a whole metaphor in there with a lot of different things for different seasons, but you have to redefine the whole concept of progression and the concept of, being successful with weight loss or progressing through weight loss. It's not linear, right? It's not just a straight point A to point B. We all know this. And if you don't, sorry to burst your bubble, but it's going to be, it's going to be a roller coaster. It's up and down, up and down. But we're looking for trends, right? And so I just picture myself as a helicopter. I'm trending and I'm still in flight. I might be hovering, but you know what? I'm not going to land. I'm going to still keep going up. So that's kind of the way that I've redefined it.
So good. What are some of what's the biggest, or maybe two of the biggest lessons that you've learned in the current season that you're in?
Honestly, it's about people. How do I I don't want to be cheesy, but it's more about how I impact people, if that makes any sense. Do I leave people better than when I found them or when they found me? And so that's kind of one of the big lessons. That's never been a lesson for me. I've always kind of been my own thing. I was taught from a very young age, almost like a narcissistic kind of mantra of, don't worry about what other people think, because in 5 years, it's going to be you, not them. That was a quote I lived my life by for 25 years. And it got me through a lot. I got me through my schooling. It got me through a lot of different things. But at the same time, I left a wake of destruction of relationships behind me with that mentality. And so now the lessons I'm learning is it's more about relationships. It's more about, you have a bullseye, picture a bullseye from like doing darts or target shooting or whatever. Right. That center bullseye is going to be your, 4 to 6 main people that are in your circle. They don't have to be family. That's a whole nother lesson to unpack. But they don't have to be family, but they do have to be like-minded. They do have to grow with you. If you look at them and they're not an average of where you want to be or they're growing with you, then you need to find new people, unfortunately. But then there's that second rung of the bullseye, where those are people that maybe you see at church, maybe you see it at a social group, maybe you're friends with at school or something like that, or at your job. They have influence on your life and you have influence on theirs, but you're not intimately connected. It's more of, just pass and go. And your impact on all of those people matter, whether it's the center rung or more the outer rung. And so I've never really dealt with that. And so the past probably 18 months, I've been reworking myself and my friendships and my relationships to kind of be really solid, just a rebuilding, if you will.
Yeah.
And I think that's been really healthy. And one of the biggest lessons I've learned about relationships of how people feel around me. If I call them, are they going to actually answer the phone or send me the voicemail?
Yeah.
Right. And those are the people that answer. And I guarantee you, if I called any one of them right now, they would answer. I've worked really hard for that.
Yeah.
And I've never had that before in my life. And so that is one of the biggest things, the biggest lessons I've learned. And I know there was supposed to be two of them, but I think that's such a big one for me.
No, I think that is just such a beautiful thing. Cause yeah, the transformation of your heart for people has been incredible. Like, you know what I mean? Like you've always been an amazing guy. You always have. But you have lived by that mantra for sure. I remember that was the quote on your MySpace page when we met. Like, I remember that.
It sure was. I was basically like one of the Salvatore brothers in Vampire Diaries. I could flip you off, not like the bird, but I could flip off any relationship and just leave the relationship without it affecting me. I was that disconnected to people.
And I've never been that way. You know what I mean? Like I've never been that way. And I've observed that, you know, and I don't get it. I can't understand that. Like relationship abandonment is so hard for me. Like friends that can just like take off, or family that can just be like, all right, bye. Like that's so hard and damaging to me. But you can just like, all right, I can flick the switch off, like turn off that humanity. But what it really is though, is you're just bottling it up and hiding it somewhere inside of you.
Probably. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But I feel like you've been healing a lot of that though. You know, I really do, because seeing the relationships that you have now and the fruit of the relationships that you have now, that's all the proof that you need right there. Like you said, the relationships that you have with the people in your life are so valuable, and they're just treasure. And that's such a good point. Like who we surround ourselves with while we're on our journeys is so crucial. Like it is so crucial. We can't heal. Often we can't heal in the places that broke us. Or, you know what I mean? Like it takes sometimes a different scenery, a different change of environment, different little group, something new, something fresh that gives you that hope of like, okay, I can work on this. That's why so many people join a gym or join a program or join whatever, join the Striker Tribe. We love you here. And it's a great community of people, but that's why they want to be a part of something and belong to something. And the best part about life, I feel, is that we get to create these beautiful relationships with people and really impact them and let them impact us. And I heard a quote a couple months ago that said, we're all just really walking each other home. And that's so true. Like we are, from the beginning of our life to the end of our life, we're just walking each other home, walking each other through these seasons. Like, you know, our family has gone through a really hard season. Like, would you agree? Since the summer we've gone through a hard season.
Yeah,
we've gone, we don't need to hide that. It's fine. We have. But the people
for the podcast, for those that don't know, you know, or may be listening to this for the very first time, it's, you know, right now it's April of 2023, but in what was that, August?
Almost 9 months ago.
Yeah, our daughter was bit in the face by a dog, had to have surgery, and it was just extremely traumatic for our entire family. At the same time, Aaron was prepping for the weight or the skin removal surgery with Athenix for the Athenix Gives Back campaign. And so there was a whole trip out of state for an extended long time. As well as like some other health challenges that we were both facing. And, you know, it was an extremely hard time. So that's kind of to explain what we mean by that.
Yeah. So we're coming out of, honestly, the hardest season we've ever been in together, I would say the hardest season. And we're closer together. and we're more connected as a family. So I think, job well done, go us. But it was hard and it was painful. And there were some really dark moments of that season. There were some really low times for us. There was some really ugly times for us, but our friends, that's what I think about most. I think about the friends that would come over and sit on the front porch with us till 2 a.m,
Yeah.
letting us just slowly weep, or be here with us when we're trying to put the ointment on Ellie's face and she's screaming her face off, like, oh, I'm getting emotional. But I think about those relationships that were here and that walked that season out with us, and the ones who have continued to. And I'm like, that's such a beautiful thing, because that was something that we built and we cultivated, because we did that for them too. When they've gone through their hard seasons, we show up for them. And it's so important to be a part of something, guys. It's so important, because when we struggle, it's too hard. Life's too hard to do alone. Like, if you hear me say anything, hear me say that. Life is too hard to do alone. Add a weight loss journey in it, guys. Come on. Like, goodness gracious, which is why we founded the Shrinking Tribe and why we're doing what we're doing. And it's a group of people that we can link arms with and walk this journey out with,
Right.
Brandon, you've been just such an important aspect of this whole thing we're doing here. It really is just like a purpose, I feel like, of just giving people a place, and kind of helping facilitate and cultivate relationship and community, in a safe place where they can be seen and heard. Right. And it's so cool.
Well, and it's not about support, but like the tribe family really becomes a family.
Yeah.
I'll give you a really intimate example right now. Our daughter is doing a project for school. It's called Flat Stanley, and it's like a little book, and about this kid that something happens to him and he gets flattened. And so then now he can go through the mail and do all travel and all this stuff. And so they've got these little Flat Stanley cutouts. They're not little, they're like a foot tall. They're huge. And so they asked us, hey, somebody out of state that we want to send this little cutout to, so that they could take pictures with it and then send it back to us and see where all Flat Stanley has traveled to. And so we immediately went to the tribe, because it made sense. And so one of our members, Heather, took Flat Stanley, and they're on vacation with him right now.
Yeah, he was riding. He was riding a coyote.
Yeah, he's like been to Graceland now, and like also it's really cool. But that's our tribe family, right? Like it's unreal how the community, you have to build it. I would almost say that building a community on your own, it's harder than losing weight on your own. And that's why the tribe exists, is because it's already built. You don't have to worry about that aspect of it, because going on a journey on your own is very, very tough. You need that tribe, you need that fellowship. And so that's kind of what we have with the tribe already built in. And it doesn't matter if you're new, doesn't matter if you're, doesn't matter gender, doesn't matter race, it doesn't matter religion or political affiliation. We are all walking each other home. Right.
Yeah. And we're all on a health journey.
It doesn't, right. It doesn't matter who you are, where you came from. The tribe is absolutely a lifesaver for a lot of people. And so, including us, I mean,
including us, I'm going to say,
worked really, yeah. I can't say enough good things about what we've built here with the Shrinking Tribe, and we welcome everybody.
Definitely. And don't hear us bragging on ourselves, because make no mistake, this has very little to do with us. And if you know, but we are here to serve, for sure, the people of the Shrinking Tribe. And we love these people. And they Brandon, you nailed it. Like, even for us, it was that when we were in our deepest, darkest seasons, they were just like, oh my gosh, the amount of love and support and stupid, ridiculous Amazon packages.
Oh my gosh.
All of these people, like, get well stuff for Ellie and Zealand, and
Yeah, not
Um,
just our daughter, but her little brother.
yeah,
Like,
because Zealand was there and witnessed it, and his birthday was the day after it happened. And so his whole birthday was just like all of us traumatized. And they sent him birthday presents, and someone showed up at the door with a birthday cake for him because I couldn't. Um, and these, oh my gosh, so it's yeah, I love that. I don't even have words. I don't even have words. It's just
yeah,
absolute adoration and just joy that these people exist. And again, it's nothing that we did. We just founded this whole thing and try to lead by example the best we can, and then we get the heck out of the way. Get out of the
yeah.
way. But it is such a beautiful place. And we're gonna keep bringing you guys these feature Fridays where we feature someone that is in their journey and the season that they're in, and bringing different perspectives and different stuff. But Dr. B, you are just amazing. And I'm not just saying that because I am partnered with you for all of eternity. But you make this thing like most of you guys don't know this, but Dr. B is behind the scenes, all the things behind the scenes for Shrink and Tribe. It would not work without him at all. He has single-handedly carried me through the hardest season of my life. And I don't want to get off of here without honoring you in that. Because this was a little tougher on me, I feel like, for different reasons. But and then throwing in my own surgery just a couple months after, Ellie having her thing and me being where I was, and then coming home from Seattle and you having to do everything, right? Like you had to be the me and the you, and help me heal and help me where I was in my lowest season of my life. And you held us together. You were our steady little stable butt, and you kept everything going. And I just want to honor you and thank you for that, because I know it was hard, and I know it was challenging, and I know that it was it was tough, and you did amazing. You did absolutely amazing. And I love you for that. So
Well,
anyway, and hopefully, yeah, never mind, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, moving on. So what are you excited about in the next season? Let's end it with this. What are you looking forward to?
I'm excited for the ripple effect of what's happening right now. We've got all sorts of tribe leaders that are walking different journeys, and we all have like really cool stuff going on, and if you go back and listen to some of the feature Fridays for this, and right now, currently, I'm still working on uploading some of these past episodes, but um, there's a lot happening. It's kind of like, I don't want to be grim or anything, but if somebody is lost in the woods and there's a search party, there's everybody's fanned out walking the same direction, but they're all fanned out. Maybe one person's crossing a log over here, one person's crossing a ditch over here. Everybody's walking the same direction, and they all have their own perspective of it. That's what's happening right now in the tribe. The tribe, all of our leaders, all of our members, everybody's walking right now in the same direction, and we all have a different viewpoint. And I'm excited for the ripple effect to happen for when somebody is reaching their goal. Maybe they come upon a new aha moment or something, or there's a feature Friday that happens. Something's going to happen, and these ripple effects are going to start happening throughout social media, throughout podcast world, throughout their own intimate world. And so I'm really excited to see that fruit. We've had a lot of stuff happening, and a lot of cool stuff. I don't know how many babies we've had pop out from the tribe.
So many babies.
But those are ripple effects that are going to last generations. And that's one of, I have 3 solid core principles for me. And one of them is leave people better than when you found them. And I feel that that's exactly what we're doing with the tribe. And that's what I'm most excited about, is these little ripples that are starting to happen. And it's going to make a huge change and just impact for people's lives.
Yeah, so good. So good. Yeah, I completely agree. And that's the whole point of what we're doing here. It's the heart behind it. It's just to help people. Like, oh, not even a tiny bit of us gives like as any kind of ill will. We don't want to take advantage of people. We just want to help people. Like, I've been there. I was 402 pounds living in a prison. I literally built myself and feeling hopeless and like I could never change. And like I'd be stuck in that season for the rest of my life. Like I was a broken hot mess. And I'm telling you right now, like I did it without a community. I did it on my own. And it sucks doing it on your own, which is why when I lost all my weight and hit my goal, I then founded the Shrinking Tribe. I didn't do it when I was in the middle of my journey and struggling with all the things. I did it when I had finished and I proved to myself that I could maintain it and that the tools that I used would last. And I'm, what, almost 3 years now maintaining my goal weight almost like
That's incredible.
it's real like and it's nothing, it's not a lotion potion emotion or anything like that. It's the tools you use. It's you getting your water in, your movement in, your self-care in, and your food, your like it's focusing on the things you need to focus on. Like that's all it is. And it's just that constant reminder of living with attention day by day. And that's the fundamental principles of what we do here. And so it's nothing weird. It's nothing scary. It's really, it's just lots of self-help, lots of self-work, lots of like, why am I the way I am? And let's heal from it. And that progressive mindset of I can progress in anything at all that I set my intentions to and put my hands to. Like I completely believe that about myself. Do you believe that about yourself? That anything that you are intentional about and you put your time and efforts to, you can improve in? Like, do you believe that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I'm
I thought that was
asking you.
rhetorical. I thought that was rhetorical because I know there are some people that don't feel that way.
I did not feel that way. If you would have asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have answered no. I would have said probably not, because my past shows me that I got all this crap stacked against me. Heck no, tech
Right.
no, I cannot. However, now having dealt with so much and worked through so much, I can say yes. I know that if I wanted to learn something, I could learn it if I really wanted to, or if I wanted to improve in something. We've proven that to ourselves and each other. You hit a big nail on the. People ask me all the time why how my marriage is so successful. Because we messed up a lot and loved each other through it because we were both willing to grow.
Yep.
Now, if I wasn't willing to grow or you weren't willing to grow, this would not be our story, right? Like Grace, like no, you have to both be willing, right? I was willing, you were willing. That's what you have seen, and that's why our marriage has the fruit it does. Is because we've not allowed ourselves to be a stagnant swamp. We've allowed ourselves to be a flowing river of I'm going to learn you. I'm going to eat because you've had to learn me as a whole new person. Like I'm nothing.
I'm still learning you.
I just told you like the girl you married.
Right. I just told you the other night that I'm like, you know what? I need to know your new favorite color. Like we were talking about that. Because I'm like, I don't know. Like, what is it now?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We're still learning.
Yeah. It is. And it's such a beautiful thing. And there's so much grace in that too, because the girl that you married is not here anymore. Like nothing about me is like that person, other than the trauma that she's trying to relieve, but nothing about me is how I was, I know, but you've learned to love the me that I am now. I know that sounds so weird, but it's the truth. Like nothing about me is the same. And you loved and held me in every season. Like I've gone through the 400s and you loved me. I've gone through the 300s in and out of them and you've loved me. I've gone through the 200s in and out of them and you've loved me. And now I'm in the 100s and I'm as low as I care to get in the 100s. And you've loved me. Like you've loved me through every season, every stage of my life and my journey. And you've loved me the same in all of it. And that is just such a beautiful, beautiful testimony right there of how we are supposed to love, right? Like that unconditional. I'm going to grow with you. I'm going to learn with you. I'm going to check you when I need to. Yeah. So anyway, I feel like I'm just bragging on you now, but I am. I'm just so proud of you. Like, it's hard to do the work. Like, we could stay the same. We could stay those people that we didn't like very much, right? We could have stayed that way. So I think it's really cool that we didn't, and we choose to grow, and we choose relationships with people instead of confrontation or being right. You know what I mean? Like, we've had a lot of opportunities to like lash out at people and be like, look what they did to us. But instead, we've just had to sit and be quiet and be graceful and forgive and love. And I'm proud of us for that. I'm proud of us for that. And the fruit that's come from that, y'all, like, is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So I'm proud of you, B. You've led that in our family, and I'm following it. I'm following it.
Well, it's kind of like what I said earlier about, like, you just need to be yourself and be louder about it. Sometimes louder doesn't mean loud. Yeah. Sometimes louder means choosing something different than what you would have originally done before. So maybe that restraint that you're talking about, with us having full justification to lash out at people or correct somebody or whatever, go to town with somebody, right? Like, sometimes being louder actually just means being more restraint or showing grace or doing something different than what you did before. So
love louder. Louder. Yes.
Yeah, you can say it that way.
And we fail at this all the time. Don't hear me saying that we're perfect, because good Lord knows we are not. But we definitely strive to let our love be the loudest thing. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it gets muffled by our own egos and our own crap. Just like everybody else, I'm going to give us grace to be human. However, I want to love louder. I do. I want my love for others to come out louder than anything else. And that comes from growing in all the seasons. And here's the hard part, friends: not letting the hard season harden you, but letting them heal you and learning something in that season. Like, if you coming out of a hard season, and instead of being a harder, more rigid version of yourself, you're a kinder, softer version of yourself. God, that's the dang point. Like, not letting our seasons harden us and harden our hearts. And it's not easy to do. And sometimes we just need to shake some of that crap off. I want to encourage you guys, spring is the perfect time to do that, to let go of things that you're holding in and holding on to. But yeah, the seasons are they're going to come, they're going to go. The best thing we can do is navigate them well. Is remember the 4 main things that we learned in the Shrinking Tribe will never go out of style. They might not be sexy, they might not be the cool thing that the cool kids are doing, but they're the consistent thing that the consistent people are doing. And they're the ones that are maintaining the weight loss. The ones out there in the world are focusing on these 4 things, and not the fancy crap out there in the world that's going to distract you. So, Dr. B, thank you for joining me. Thank you for spending your time. I know you just got off work and you're tired and all the things, but thank you for taking your time to sit down with me and share the season that you're in. I didn't know any of this other than just talking to you and us in our own porch time and stuff like that. But I love this. I absolutely love this. It's super fun. So I'm excited for. Yes, like, you're welcome. You're going to make me pay for it in some way, I'm sure. But hey, that's fine. That's fine. But I love your guts, babe, and I'm so glad that you're here. But friends, make sure you reach out to B and thank him for being on the podcast. You guys know it's not easy to get on here and share stuff in front of other people. And now that we're sharing the Feature Fridays on the podcast as well, it adds a whole other level. So I appreciate you guys being brave and sharing your story. Like, some of you have been in the tribe since it was founded, like 2 whole years, you guys. We're doing so good. But thank you for sharing your stories. Thank you for the vulnerability to share every season of life, because we're not always going to be in a perfect winning season. Sometimes we're going to be in a harder season, or a slow season, or a stalled season, or a restful season, right? Or a healing season. We have to give ourselves, as human beings, grace to be in the seasons that we're in and not force ourselves out of them sooner than we're ready. So embrace your season, learn what you can in it, and move. Keep moving. Our thing here is, what if this time you didn't give up? Just keep going. Don't be a stagnant swamp, be a flowing river. Yes, but we'll see you guys next week for our next Feature Friday. These will be coming at you every Friday as we get through this season series. Gosh, that's hard to say. But we appreciate you guys tuning in. And don't forget, you can accomplish anything, friends. You can improve on anything at all that you put your intentions behind and you put your hands to. So go out there and shrink those mountains, and we'll see you guys next week.